Welcome to GDs. And this is Barbarians, Season 1. Season starts with the Romans visiting the Cherusci tribe in Germania and informing them that the new Governor Varus, wants them to pay tributes. And we learn that the chief of the Cherusci tribe, Segimer, gave the Romans his son's years back for truce and to be free from paying tributes. But despite that, they now want them to start paying tributes. With the tribe already being low on food, Segimer wants to fight back, but he knows that his tribe cannot match the might of the Romans. In addition, one of his noblemen, Segistes, is also against confronting Romans and wants him to comply. Segimer, despite knowing Segistes' views, sends messengers to all the tribes of Germania, calling their Reichs for a meeting. At the meeting, he proposes that they unite and fight back against the Romans. But the tribes are divided and are not able to unite, leaving Segimer with no option but to comply with the demands of the Romans. Nobleman Segistes, in order to strengthen his position, also promises Hadgan of the Chatti tribe his daughter Thusnelda for marriage. And he agrees to it, letting him know that he will return back with the bridal price. But we learn that Thusnelda is in love with one of his tribe members, Folkwin Wolfspear. The Romans return to collect the tribute, but they are not satisfied with what the tribe offers them. Thus, they want Segimer to prove his loyalty to Rome by bowing to their eagle. But Segimer is not willing to do so. Segistes, in order to prove his loyalty, decides to bow and kiss the Roman eagle. But his daughter stops him, and this leads to the Romans dragging her. Her brother, in order to save his sister, bites on the Roman's hand, and he strikes him down. Before things could escalate, Segimer bows and kisses the eagle, so that the Romans leave them alone. Thusnelda's brother survives, but the hit resulted in his brain being severely damaged. At the Roman camp, Roman prefect Arminius joins Governor Varus, and we learn that it was Governor Varus who raised him. Varus, getting to know that one of the tribes refused to pay tributes, asks Arminius to execute their Reich, and he does the needful. While Thusnelda, along with Folkwin, and 2 other members of their tribe, decide to teach the Romans a lesson, and they come up with a plan to steal their prized eagle. They sneak into the Roman camp, and with some doing, they are able to get their hands on the eagle, and they take it back with them. While at the Roman camp, Arminius finds a locket, and he has a similar locket with him. Arminius goes to Governor Varus, and assures him that he will get the eagle back. Arminius sets out in search for the eagle along with Germanic mercenaries, who have been helping the Romans. Meanwhile, at the Cherusci tribe, Thusnelda and Folkwin return with the Roman eagle, and this gives the tribe something to rejoice about. They celebrate this small victory of theirs, knowing that it will be very difficult for the Romans to figure out on who stole their eagle. But we find that Arminius had made his way to the tribe, and we learn that he was the elder son of Segimer, whom he gave to the Romans years back. Arminius and his younger brother, after being handed over by Segimer to the Romans, were raised by Varus in Rome. And Arminius resents his father for the choice he made of giving them up. We also learn that when Arminius was young, he along with the young Thusnelda and Folkwin, took down a wolf who attacked them. And they kept his teeth with them as a reminder of their bond and friendship, and it was this locket which Arminius found. And thus he knew who took the eagle. Arminius informs his father that he knows they have the eagle, and he wants it back. He assures him that the rest of the Romans won't find out that it was his tribe who attacked them. But Segistes, in order to earn favors with the Romans, and hoping to become a Reich someday, informs Governor Varus that few men from his tribe are the ones who took the eagle. And he gives up Folkwin and the others, but keeps his daughter's name out. Knowing this, Governor Varus sets out for the tribe. Meanwhile at the tribe, Arminius reunites with his childhood friends Folkwin and Thusnelda. But the happiness is short-lived, as they find out that he is there not to support them, but to take the eagle back. As Arminius returns to the village, he is surrounded by the tribe members of the Reich he executed, and they want revenge. Arminius fights it out and wins, and lets his opponent live, but as he looks away, he is attacked. Folkwin intervenes, and saves him from being killed. Segimer, in order to keep his son as well as his tribe safe, gives the eagle to Arminius, and as he rides out of the tribe, Folkwin goes after him. They fight it out in the jungle, but Arminius is able to knock out Folkwin. Meanwhile, the Romans have reached the tribe. Segimer informs them that they don't have the eagle. But with Governor Varus already knowing the names of those who were involved, he goes after them, and their families. He hangs them, and warns others that they are not to be brought down, and this is what they get for going after Rome. In addition, he wants them to get him Folkwin and their eagle, if they want peace to continue. Folkwin, gaining consciousness, returns back, only to find his friends being hanged, and he is broken. Seeing the cruelty of the Romans, few of the men assure Folkwin that they will follow him. While Thusnelda, knowing he is not safe in the village, asks him to leave, and his men knock him out, and carry him with them. Meanwhile, an injured Arminius finally reaches back at the Roman camp. As he regains strength, Governor Varus tasks him with getting the head of Folkwin Wolf's spear. And Arminius leaves with Roman soldiers to hunt down Folkwin. He reaches back at the tribe, and seeing the brutality of the Romans on his tribe, he is quite anguished. Arminius allows them to be taken down, and to be cremated properly. And they start their search for Folkwin. Thusnelda's mother, not being able to deal with her son's condition, tries to kill him, but he is saved by his sister. Thusnelda, knowing he will not be safe with their mother, takes him to a seer, so that he could remain safe. While Folkwin, along with others, hide out in another tribe. But they betray them, as Romans have offered a bounty on Folkwin. Though Folkwin is able to get away, but in the process they lose few men. With no place to be safe, they decide to head deep in the jungle. But as they were resting, the Romans were able to find them. And in the fight, all the men with Folkwin are killed. Arminius, in order to save Folkwin, turns against the Roman soldiers, and he kills them. He tells Folkwin that he only returned a favor, as it was him who saved him first. In addition, he lets Folkwin know that Governor Varus does not know how he looks, so he will take a head and let him know that it's Folkwin. Thusnelda also joins them, and they tell him that he is more of them than the Romans, and his action shows this. But Arminius is not willing to accept that, and refuses Folkwin's offer to join them to fight back. He lets him know that they are the only two who are fighting. As Arminius leaves, he asks them to disappear and start somewhere fresh. Meanwhile at the Roman camp, Reich Segemer informs Governor Varus that their tribe has no food, and they will starve because of the tributes. Varus lets him know that he can only help his tribe if he makes way for a new Reich, and tells him that he wants Arminius to be the new Reich. Segemer, knowing this to be the only way for his tribe to survive, agrees. But for a new Reich to ascend to power, the old Reich needs to die. And Segemer, knowing this, ends his life. While Arminius returns with a head, and informs Varus that Folkwin is dead. He also lets him know that he wants to get away from here, and return to Rome. But Varus tells him that he will now be a Reich of the Cherusci tribe, as he thinks, by having him as a Reich, the Romans will have a stronger hold on all the Germanic tribes. Arminius, already conflicted, and having no choice, agrees to do the needful. While at the tribe, Segestes claims the position of the Reich of the tribe, but his happiness is short-lived. As Hadrian and his men surrounded the village, and he wants the bride he was promised. They are saved by Arminius, and he lets Hadrian know that the village is under Romans' protection, and he will not like having Romans as his enemy. Hadrian, knowing the odds, leaves. And Arminius informs the tribe that he is their new Reich. Arminius sends out a messenger to find Folkwin and Thusnelda, and we learn that they have been asking men to join their cause, to go against the Romans. Arminius informs them on what has happened. And he lets them know that he is now ready to fight. Arminius tells them that he is not planning to ambush Roman patrols, but to take on the entire Roman battalion. As he knows their fighting strategies. And with a proper plan, if all the tribes unite, they can do the impossible. Folkwin and Thusnelda, though intrigued by the proposal, but are not sure if the rest of the tribes will join him. Arminius proposes that in order for them to trust him, and to strengthen his position, Thusnelda needs to marry him. As rumors have spread, and people consider Thusnelda to be a seer. And they will hold a strong position, if are seen together. Folkwin and Thusnelda, knowing this to be the right move, agrees for the same, and Arminius assures them that when it's all over, they can be back together, but for now Folkwin needs to leave. Thusnelda and Arminius are married. But Segestes is not happy with this, as he sees all the power he aspired to have slipping away from his hands. After the wedding, Arminius proposes a plan for the tribes to unite and fight, but the tribes are divided as ever, because of all the infighting among themselves, and thus, they are not able to unite. Thusnelda, now being a wife of a Reich, also shows his father and mother their rightful place. While in the jungle, a drunk Folkwin crosses path with the Roman soldiers, and as one of their slaves tries to escape, the Romans kill him. And they take Folkwin in his place. But in the confrontation, Folkwin lost his locket, and as Thusnelda and Arminius found a burned body, along with the locket, they assumed it to be of Folkwin. But in reality, Folkwin was taken as a slave and is imprisoned in the Roman camp. Arminius visits Governor Varus, in order to introduce him with his wife. Varus, seeing him making inroads in the tribes, wants him to bring a son of every Reich from every tribe, as this will make sure that they are always in line. And Arminius, along with Thusnelda, starts taking the kids from the Reichs, and none of them are able to oppose him, because of the might of the Roman Empire. After taking the sons of all the Reichs, Arminius calls them for a meeting. Arminius lets them know that they were not able to do anything when their sons were taken, and the same was done to him years back. And in Rome, he was taught to forget his people and their way of life, and they will do the same to their sons. He tells them that if they don't unite now, it will be the end of their way of life. And he returns all the Reich kids to them, as they were never sent to Rome, but were safe in his tribe. The Reichs, knowing how easy it was for him to take their sons, finally unite. Arminius informs them that he will break the ranks of the Romans and get them into the woods, where they will have an advantage to take them down. As Arminius gets ready to leave for the Roman camp, Thusnelda, knowing Folkwin to be gone, and getting close with Arminius, finally gets intimate with him. Arminius returns to the Roman camp, and informs Governor Varus that the tribes were not willing to give up their sons. And they need to make an example of a tribe, so that the others start complying. And thus, he wants Governor Varus to send his men with him in the jungle, so that he can show the tribes their place. On the other hand, Segestes learns that Folkwin is still alive, and knowing this to be his chance to get power, he goes to Varus, and informs him that Arminius is lying to him, and he will betray him. But Arminius, having Varus's trust, was able to convince him that Segestes is lying, by pandering to his ego, and pointing out the absurdity in what Segestes is telling them. That small Germanic tribes can take on the might of the Roman army. Hearing this, Varus threw Segestes out, and they get ready to move. While in the jungle, Hadrian, not being able to be with Thusnelda, decides to leave the alliance, and this creates doubts in other Reichs, but Thusnelda is able to keep them together by cutting her eye and making them believe that they will win, as she, being a seer, has seen it happen. Arminius draws the Romans in the jungle, and things go to their plan, and they attack the Romans. And as the fight carries on, Folkwin gets free and joins in. Hadrian also returns, and seeing the tribes have an upper hand, joins them in the fight. Governor Varus, seeing this huge loss, and the embarrassment he has caused Rome, ends his own life. And the Germanic tribes were able to defeat the Romans. Arminius informs Thusnelda that Folkwin is still alive. Thusnelda lets him know that today, he not only defeated the Romans, but also won the hearts of his people, and he will be the new king of the Germanic tribes, and she will stand by him as his queen. She also informs Folkwin that she thought he was dead, and thus, things have changed. Folkwin, getting to know this, decides to leave. Arminius lets him know that once he will be the king of tribes, he wants him to be his first prince, as he is the only one he can truly trust. But Folkwin tells him that if he ever becomes a king, he will be the first one who will kill him. And as the season ends, we see Arminius enjoying with his men, as Hadrian and Segestes watch him with envy. While Thusnelda learns from the seer that she is with a child, and it's not that of the king. Thanks for watching. And if you liked it, please subscribe.